Hey everybody, welcome back, Vegas Dice Kings. Hey, today I got the show to myself. I give Danny and Ralph the day off. We'll see them next week. Those of you following Ralph, we're gonna have a great time with him. He's gonna start talking about his first job uh, and take it from there. Like I said, Ralph was big time in the gaming industry and has a lot to do with his generation. Then Danny and I, guys like us, come in, and then Table for Table ended at 87. But like I said, the show is based on casino stuff, Las Vegas stuff. All right. If you have stories about like the Vegas Vic sign, whatever, whatever, use our email there, the Vegas Dice Kings. But I'm going to give you my own. I'll give you my phone number and my email, and I'm looking for the personal stories. Something from a dealer. This happened in a pit. This guy got arrested. Just a quick summary. Send me. And if it kind of clicks, a little pitch, if it clicks, I'm going to get back with you and we're going to start throwing these stories in. All right? So today I have a special guest, my little baby girl, Lyndsay. Hey, baby. Lyndsay
Hi,
just
Doc.
moved to Denver. She was in, I'll let her tell you about, what she's been doing since she was a little girl, what influences Las Vegas had with her, and right up until why she moved to Denver. So go ahead, baby girl. What do you got?
Hey, Daddy.
Hi, honey.
Well, the main question everyone always asks me is, what's it like growing up in Vegas? Well, I don't know what it's like growing up anywhere else. All I know is I'm really cool and I have a lot of good stories, which we'll go over some today. Starting from the day I was born, I have nothing but good stories, and I thank Vegas for that. There's never a dull moment for me. What do you got any good stories to start with, Daddy?
I'll
Dad?
tell you what. Yeah. Lindsay, by the time the show's over, you're going to understand. I did a lot with my kids. I did a lot. I'll tell you what I learned. So I only started art, my first drawing 7 years ago, and I read a thing, this one quote, because I like to read quotes and stuff like it. Says, the more creative you are, the more fun your kids will have. And I'll tell you what, we hit that right on the nose. You had a little bit of fun growing up, right, Lindsay? Like Lindsay,
I
Lindsay was
have had the most fun life out of anyone I know,
right.
mostly thanks to you,
Yeah,
Mr.
we had a whole
Vegas.
bunch of stuff. Lindsay's my oldest, and then Johnny. Lindsay's 38. Johnny's 3 years younger, and then Philip is 28. Philip's 10 years younger. Like I said, the kids had a ball. But I'm gonna tell you something about when Lindsay was born. Okay, when I first came to town, up until when Lindsay was born, I had become quite a well-known. They say legacy, whatever. My point is, I lived a pretty good lifestyle. Had an apartment up in the Mark One there, couple cars, boat, Cadillac, motorcycles, this and that, blah blah blah. And then a girl got pregnant, which we weren't planning on. So make a long story short, Lindsay is going to be born. She was going to have this baby, whether I was there or not. This was going to be the worst moment of my life. It's like, Johnny Law having kids? Are you freaking crazy? Let me tell you something. When she was born, okay? So back then they had women's hospital, which was dynamite because you get to take your kid home in a limo, all right? But back then, before all the legal stuff, all three of my kids were born C-section. For Lindsay and Johnny, I was literally right by a curtain here, and there's their mom, and the doctor's over here cutting her open. And when I saw Lindsay's face, boom, like a sledgehammer, everything changed. Those of you who know me, pre-children, post-children, you know what I'm talking about. I have done a lot with my kids. Things that I never ever thought I would do. But probably. But so here's a little story. All right. So Lindsay's born 3 days later. Time to take her home. The limo's outside waiting. You know, we're signing papers, ready to go. And the girl says, "Hey, hold on. You got to fill this out." And I look at her. What is this? She says, "Well, you got to name your kid." I says, "I didn't know you got to name. I thought you get to take your kid home for like a week or two, see if it's a Debbie, a Susie, a Bobby, whatever." So I literally had to make up Lindsay's name right there on the spot. I came up with Lyndsay, Lyndsay, two Y's, a little bit different, kind of like all the brothers and the sisters do now with their kids, these original names. But
Oh,
anyway,
and
that's
that
how I came up with Lindsay's name. And what do you remember about hearing these stories about when you were first born, when you first come home?
Well, I want to thank you for never being able to buy a coffee mug or a keychain at a gift shop because it's never spelled the right way. Everyone always asks me, like, your name's spelled so differently, it's not the normal Lindsay spelling. And then I tell them that story. Oh, yeah, my dad thought I was like adopting a puppy where you take it home and you get to name it after a couple weeks. So,
Good doggy.
yeah, everyone loves that story about you naming me, and everyone thinks it's really cool that because I do have five best friends named Lindsay, I'm the only one different
Right.
with the two Y's, and my last name is Law. That's also pretty cool, but yeah, just being born in Vegas, and then people hear that story about you trying to leave without naming me. It's a real knee slapper.
It kind of started right out of the gate, huh? Before you even got in the
Yeah.
limo. Anyway, I'll tell you what, though. One of the earliest stories that I really enjoyed was so you were about maybe, I know you weren't a year old yet. The Dodge Caravan van started coming out. All right. So I switched my car with Rick Berger, and he let me use his van. So we took the middle seat out, and I put a playpen in there, and Lindsay was in there. This is back 35, 40 years ago. People didn't have all that stuff with seat belts, this and that. I didn't know. I'm a new parent. So, anyways, we're going on a 9 day vacation to California, Morro Bay, Hearst Castle, Santa Barbara, all this really cool stuff. And I'm going with their mom. Lindsay's a baby, and Diane has her little Yorkie, Rocky. You know, one of them. So, anyways, we're leaving on our trip, packed up, ready to go. Boom, boom, boom. First place I go is I like to stop at Nipton, right past Prim State Line. You take a road down there, the red and yellow road. Go down there, there's a little tiny Nipton. It was actually bought by some guys from Burning Man and turned into Magical Nipton, if that says what their plans were. But they've sold it. Didn't work out. So we've gone to Nipton over the years. But so, anyways, I get out. This is 1983, 84, whatever. And so I bought a video camera. I got this big video camera, and you had a big long battery that you had to shrug. And I told her mom, I said, "Let me get the camera ready, and I'll get a picture of you coming out by Nipton Hotel and everything." So I come around, got the camera on, I'm filming. Diana reached in, gets Lindsay, pulls Lindsay out. "Hey, here's Lindsay. We're going to California for 9 days. We're going to have fun. Here's Rocky." So while I'm filming Lindsay and her mom there, over by the Nipton Hotel, right in front of the Nipton Hotel, out in front is this big giant German Shepherd. Rocky goes over. This freaking German Shepherd bit Rocky in half, died instantly. Now, so I set the camera down. I
Rocky.
forgot to turn it off, which is kind of cool. So I have all audio. It's about all this stuff. Their mom insisted that Rocky was going to be stuffed, and we were going to take Rocky in a cooler, dump the food out, put some ice in there, put Rocky in there. We'll keep him on ice for 9 days. So I didn't go for that. So, anyways, I go find somebody who's responsible. I find a guy get a little backhoe. He gets this backhoe and digs a hole in front of the Nipton Hotel. Go online, look at Nipton Hotel. If it's dynamite. It's a dynamite photo, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So he gets a backhoe. He digs the grave, put Rocky in there. I build a little cross with a couple of sticks. Boom, boom, boom. We're ready. We're off on vacation. Everything's cool. All right. No dead animals in the car. We're ready to have fun. About 2 months later, Life magazine comes out. On the cover is Nipton Hotel with Rocky's grave on it. So, Lindsay, you've heard different opinions about it. You heard your mom. What seems to be the common thing when you hear about that?
Oh well, she still wishes she got Rocky stuffed.
Right.
But yeah, you guys' stories never really match up, except for the one, the way I was born. But yeah, the Rocky story. I'm still waiting to see that video. I can't wait.
Your mom
He'll
has
show
it
it to
somewhere.
me one day.
Yeah, we'll dig it out. So, anyways, well, I'll tell you what, Nipton, over the years, we ended up going to Nipton a lot, right? What do you remember about going to Nipton? Like, what are a couple of things we did there?
Oh, I love Nipton. Well, it was like what we call now a staycation.
Right.
Not a too far drive. We did everything. Laughlin too. There was so much to do when I was little in Vegas. All these cute little towns nearby.
Well, in
What was that? Where did we stay in Nipton? What was it called?
well, we never stayed in Nipton. These guys that owned it were starting to have tents and going to turn it into this artsy city. So we never stayed right in Nipton
We
or
stopped
Searchlight.
there.
It was always on the way to Laughlin. So
That's right.
you can get to Nipton two ways. If you're going to go to Laughlin at Searchlight, turn right, or you go past Prim. And that road, when we went down there, they repaved it with that red pavement and yellow stripes. And Lindsay, you know how little kids can't talk right. She used to call it sketty bicycle. I said, Lindsay, say bicycle, bicycle.
I can say it now.
Bicycle, right? So I've been kidding her about that for about 37 years now. But down in Nipton, over the years, we would go there. Doreen's dad, Al, loved it there. And we would always take 25, 50 pennies, put them on the tracks, because there's railroad tracks. You'll see the pictures. There's railroad tracks there. I probably put $50 in pennies out there. If you go to Nipton, when you get to the railroad tracks, turn right, walk up there, I guarantee you're going to find pennies. We probably went as far as a half a mile up there doing stuff like that.
You remember we used to, you would park really far away from the railroad tracks, and we would measure our footsteps and make treasure maps and come back and get them like a year later.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I did that a lot. Buried treasure and find maps and stuff. It was dynamite. I'll tell you something as simple as, and we did it not too long ago, when we would go to Nipton, you go over the road on a bridge, right? And the big semi trucks are coming, and what'd you guys do? Beep, beep.
No, that would be, this guy's smart. He knew how to have an entire day of free fun with kids. We would go, oh my gosh, Dad, could we do the horns on the truck? It's like, yeah. We would be up there for hours. Me and my brother just do this. Every semi truck honks a horn. It was our favorite thing.
It's become part of our life, So
yeah. Well, that bridge, Dad, that we used to go to do the horn honking, that's right in the center of Vegas now. That used to be, it used to seem like it was out in the middle of the nowhere.
It was?
Like it was in the middle of the desert, cowboy town. And now that's in the middle of the city.
Right. Well, when I moved here, Rainbow was a 2-lane road without streetlights. The freeway only went to Jones, and the Flamingo Road didn't even go over to 15 yet when I moved here. So, talking about being new at parenting, okay, so I lived in the Mark I when Lindsay was born. all right? And her mom lived in a nice big 5-bedroom house with a pool, which means she has 4 roommates who are showgirls, which means these girls are outside bare naked by the pool every day. So I figured, well, maybe I'll let Lyndsay be my daughter. Then I can go over and look at these girls all the time, right?
Thanks,
Anyway,
Dad. Yeah, it worked.
I'll show you. I got a picture of me holding Lyndsay on the roof of the Mark One there, right? So everybody's seen the infamous Michael Jackson hanging his kid out the window there. He got that idea from me. I did it with Lyndsay. You'll see the photo. Actually, I got 2 photos from top of the Mark One because when Lyndsay was born, it was all different. Before she was born, we had a table, white linen tablecloths, and this is where we'd take dates with a view on the strip. It was the best view. There was no hotel that had a view like we had at the Mark One there. So, and I've taken a ton of pictures. I'll show you some of the photos we took as either the hotels that they were building or right before the implosions, like the Sands, the Dunes, and some other ones.
Yeah. No, Dad, you used to take me to see all the implosions. You would sometimes wake us up to go take a picture of us next to it. And I was so annoyed. I thought that, why is he doing this? This is so boring. And now I have all these epic pictures
Right.
of Landmark and all of the old casinos being imploded. So, things that kids find boring. Actually, I'm so lucky. I have pictures of me with the Luxor this big and the stratosphere as 3 little stumps. So yeah,
Right.
I used to think, gosh, he always takes so many pictures. Can he stop? And now I'm really happy that you did.
And how did we used to dress back then?
Oh, we always matched me.
Right. So whatever I had
Or
on.
if we didn't wear a matching outfit, I was for sure wearing a Bally's shirt, a Caesar's shirt, any free casino clothes, That's what I wore to school every day.
Well, my kids have a lot of T-shirts from Johnny's Outlaws. I had a softball team for 27 years, year round. Plus, we had tournaments at Bally's and Caesars. We're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. But if the kids were being a little bit bad, I would take them downtown. And how would I straighten you up, Lindsay? What would you do? We would look for.
Oh gosh. Well, where Fremont is now with the roof, it just was a street, and he would take us down the back alleys, and he would say, "Look over there, the dead guy. I'll drop you off here." It was really just someone drunk sleeping on the ground.
Right. I got pictures of the
Yeah,
alley.
downtown was scary, and he said if we didn't behave, he'd leave us down there. So
Yeah, up in the car up until we get there. Kids are singing. The girls always singing in the back seat. When we saw the dead guys, silence, silence. So, and we're going to talk about in a little bit a couple other things I did when the kids were kind of bad. So, so we talked about the dead people. What about? I'll tell you what. Okay, and I've been talking to a couple friends lately. The casinos, they were dynamite. They did so much for the employees. I'm going to tell you what. We had a golf tournament twice a year. We had a big softball tournament every year. It was dynamite. We used to get a ham on Christmas, turkey on Thanksgiving.
big one.
We used to go. Each hotel would rent Wet and Wild for 3 days. Wet and Wild was new. You'll see a couple pictures of me and Lindsay. She was just a baby. Lindsay will have a couple stories about Wet and Wild, but also I'm going to talk about and they did Corporate Challenge too. All right, I don't even know if they do it. Corporate Challenge was like the city of Las Vegas Olympics. All employers, depending on their size and what category they were, and you would do all the events. I coached myself at Bally's, 8-ball, horseshoes, bocce, shuffleboard, softball, a couple of other ones. And actually, a few years, I would get HR, Cass Palmer, at the time, to pick us up and drop us off in limo. So I would have my kids with me in a limo going to events. One year, the team was called Johnny Law's Softball, Sex, and Beer Club. I might have done that. I should have maybe done that shirt a little bit different. But one of my better stories, and I'm going to let Lindsay talk about it. The hotels used to do these Christmas parties. Unbelievable. Anybody that has been to one, and all the hotels did it, I mean, it was quite a deal. And Lindsay was little one time, and she can talk about a story that maybe stands out for her with the.
Oh, well, I remember at your Christmas parties, your work kept track of who had kids and if they were boys or girls. So you get into the Christmas party and you get like tickets, right? And me and Johnny, we would go pick up our gift with our ticket. But one of your friends, your buddies, I was really good friends
It
with
was
his
actually
daughter.
Gwen, cocktail waitress at Bally's, the first black chick on the Las Vegas Strip, cocktail waitress. But it was Gwen.
Yeah,
Gwen.
she didn't make it, right? And so she gave us her kids tickets. So I got two gifts, but I got mine. It was a Barbie. They specified to boys or girls. So my dad said, let's keep the extra present wrapped because I had a friend's birthday party coming up at the roller skating rink. So we'll give it to her for her birthday. So we go to, what was that roller skating rink called? Dad, what was the roller skating rink called?
The what?
The roller skating rink we used to go to?
Ice Palace or something.
Yeah.
Something like
And
that.
it's my Girl Scouts, one of the girls' birthdays. And I don't know what's in the present. It's already wrapped from Christmas a few days ago. So everyone's like, all right, Sarah, open Lindsay's gift. And she opens it and she starts crying and everyone else starts laughing. I'm like, what? And it was a black Barbie. And I wanted it. I was like, this is great. What are you crying for? Give me that. And they basically ignored me the rest of it. I don't know why. It was a toy. It was wonderful. I loved it. It was one of my dad's friends' kids who I hung out with all the time. I'm like, I don't see the problem, but this girl, I don't know.
Right.
Never seen Black Barbie before.
Well, with regards to Wet and Wild, do you think that influenced you? My kids were lifeguards at the pools. Which pool did you work at, Lindsay?
Oh, well, my first job was at the Mandalay Bay pool. I was a lifeguard there for 2 years. And then I worked at the Flamingo pool and the Mirage pool. Actually, I worked at the Mirage pool during the incident with Siegfried and Roy. I was actually in the EDR, the employee dining room, eating lunch when that happened, or eating dinner. Yeah. And everyone was freaking out about it. And I didn't know what happened, but that was
Right.
when Roy was attacked by the tiger.
But that was a
So
pretty
it-
cool job, lifeguarding, right? You guys really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. I mean, I'll tell you what, me, if I could have been a lifeguard at a Las Vegas pool, but like with Lindsay and all my other friends' kids, Lindsay grew up in Las Vegas just like I grew up in Pittsburgh or whatever. When you're a little kid, you really don't know. But so when Lindsay was about 5 or 6, it was 1989. I got her into being a cheerleader at UNLV. So UNLV, like at halftime and other events, they're called UNLV starlets. All right, little girls, 5, 6 years old, and they go out and they do their stuff. All right, she loved it. Did football games, did basketball games, but that was the year we won. So I went to all of the games right up in Denver when we beat Duke last game. So I got to travel with them. But I'll tell you what about this particular story is, so a regular cheerleader would mentor a girl, one of the little girls, and Lindsay was with Valerie Pita. Valerie Pita is probably the most notable, one of the most notable Las Vegas people, but especially UNLV. When she was 10, she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, and make a long story short, it was a few years after the tournament when she passed. And I'll tell you what, it was tough. She was a dynamite girl. So I teach at UNLV. If you've been to UNLV, where the student union is, a big plaza there, it's called Pita Plaza in honor of Valerie Pita. I got Anderson Hunt's uniform. When I got it, it was like about 2 days later, and the RJ is the infamous picture of them in the jacuzzi at Phil the Fixer's house. So, I don't want to go into too many details with that. But like John said, statute of limitations, so I'm pretty good to talk about Phil the Fixer. But I got to say, right, that was exciting when you was cheerleading, right?
Yeah. I think I think I didn't realize how cool it was until now. I look back at it, because that was just something I did. It was my everyday life, going to cheer at UNLV basketball games, and thinking about it now, I'm like, wow, kids don't get to do that.
That was crazy, right?
Yeah.
And March Madness now is a big, big thing. And basically, we were at every game in March Madness right up to when we won the last game. So, I'm trying to keep the show about Las Vegas, about the casinos, about dealing, and all my stories are directly and indirectly related to that stuff. So Lindsay had a blast. I had a blast at all the football games and everything. I still have her little cheerleading outfit. So anyways, another thing we used to do a lot was right out Boulder City, the railroad pass, go down 93 to Searchlight is a big giant dry lake bed. Okay, I had a lot of parties at the dry lake bed. I had a couple of my kids' birthday parties at the dry lake bed. Would get about 10 families, would put the cars in a big circle. People would bring a wood. We would build a little Burning Man fortress and burn it. We would barbecue. We had music real loud. We had fireworks. I'll show you the pictures. I used to do the Brillo pad and stuff like that. And we did a lot of camping. Lindsay, you guys had a blast at the dry lake bed, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, my favorite part was you and your buddies, would actually use all the scrap wood from all the construction, and you would build an actual house, this for like a kid's playhouse, the size of a shed from Home Depot. And we would play in it all day. When the sun went down, you would set it on fire, and we loved it. But yeah, that was good times. I wish we could still do that.
Yeah, we did a lot of that stuff, and even with camping, I used to take my kid. I'll have some photos of. I took Johnny and Lindsay camping in Pine Valley one time for 11 days, just me and the kids. Johnny might have been 2, Lindsay was 5, and Lindsay was into picking up snakes and this and that. One night so every camp spot is on a creek. So we were walking down, it was late at night, I got a flashlight, and there's a skunk. It turns around and faces us the other way, and I'm trying to tell Lindsay, be careful. And she was like, well, is he gonna bite us? And that's when she learned that skunks don't bite you, it comes out the other end. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I did. Our dog got sprayed that day. Lovey Dovey.
Right. Yeah. Bill Cullen's dog got sprayed. It was bad. His dog got sprayed real bad. We had to keep the dog next site down out of the way for at least the first day. And then when we would go camping, what kind of omelets did I make?
Vomit omelets. I hate that. So,
They were delicious. Vomit omelets were delicious. And what did I do if we were in a crowd and I needed to find you? What did I do?
you did the Tarzan noise.
I'm gonna see if John can throw a clip of the Tarzan's yell in there. That
Oh,
we were out.
Dad, I have a really good camping story, actually.
What?
You might be mad at me for telling it, but it's a really good one. All right. Well, we used to go camping up, where was it, Mount Charleston or Lee Canyon. And sometimes we would bring all of our friends, all of your buddies from work with the same age kids as us. But one year you only brought, I forget who it was, but each camping site had a parking space for 2 cars. And we had 3 cars, but we fit them all. But because we had 3 cars, they still charged us for 2 sites, and we only used 1. And we had to pay for the campsite. I remember Dad was gone for a while. He left. Comes back a few hours later with a giant bag of pennies. And you paid for the campsite in pennies, the extra campsite, because you were so mad because they charged us for another one.
That was bad. I was a bad boy.
You was a bad boy. That to me is like from a movie. That was one of the best, funniest things you've ever done.
So
It was like $10, but
right.
Still it was funny.
With regards to the camping and all that stuff, when it comes down to school and business, I was PTA president at every one of my kids' schools. Philip, Johnny, and Lindsay. But I'm going to tell you what, and I've got pictures of it. I think it was 1997. I was awarded like the Parent of the Year, the Parent Hall of Fame at school district. My picture's still up there. I was with Dr. Cram, but I was the first male, the first father, because it was only moms who were PTA presidents. So it was quite an honor to do that.
You were great, Dad. Remember, one of my favorite things we used to do, a lot of the kids at my school, not everyone's parents are adventurous like my dad, and a lot of them had never seen snow before. So my dad, when we were in school, he would go up Mount Charleston and get coolers and coolers full of snow. And when school let out, he would open them all up on the playground, and all the kids could play in the snow.
That was fun.
It was pretty cool.
And we used to, I used to wear a cow outfit. John will show a picture of down by the Holy Cow, right by where real quick. So now the Holy Cow is on the corner of Sahara and Las Vegas Boulevard. 2 doors down was where I went to dealer school. Across the street, then where the world's biggest gift shop is, was Jolly Trolley. All right, so I could go over there on break, get a 25-cent hot dog, 25-cent beer, and bare naked dancers. It was dynamite. Lindsay, we went downtown last week when you were here. We had 4 hot dogs at Dirt Dog. The bill was $100. Without the tip, it was $100. 4 hot dogs and some drinks and some other crap. $100. So that's a reflection of inflation in America today. So, are there any memories of the cow outfit that stand out for you?
Oh, yeah. It's the reason I'm so good now. Well, I had an awkward stage in junior high school. I wasn't a kid, but I wasn't a teenager. I wanted to rebel. I was bad. I would ditch class I was the class clown. And my dad found a way to stop that really quick. If I got in trouble with school, he was on the PTA, so the principal thought it was a great idea. He would follow me and sit with me in every single period class wearing the cow costume with udders. I was humiliated, and all my friends still make fun of me to this day But I never got in trouble after the first time he did that. I was trying to be cool. I was becoming a teenager, and my dad's sitting next to me in school wearing a cow costume with giant udders. So embarrassing. I never got in trouble ever again.
Now, I didn't say much. The only thing I really said was, Lindsay, will you squeeze my udder? My udder. All right, so, anyways, hey, real quick, my house, the Christmas parties, right? Anybody that knows me, I had these epic Christmas parties. When I was a kid, there were a couple times we didn't have trees. One Christmas, I didn't even get a present. It was tough. So to make up for that, I would decorate my house disgustingly cool with lights and garland. You wouldn't have a blank spot that wide. We
It
did
was like a
crafts,
5 day event, the decorating the house.
right?
There
Right.
was no blank spots.
So I had stuff for the kids in the garage. Every year we would do a different craft, like paper chains or tree ornaments with the year on it. And everybody loves that to this day. Everybody's kids are old. And we would go Christmas caroling, right? I'd get a trailer, put some hay in there, and I would call ahead of time, and people would have hot chocolate and cookies and stuff ready. But the kids would all had a bell, and we would go Christmas caroling. It was kind of cool.
Well,
And a lot of the kids that went, every once in a while when I see them around town, that was one of their best memories. So it was kind of cool. Uh, and then, so going back to some of the stuff we used to do. For a while there, Lindsay was around junior high. I was renting a houseboat for a week every year. And I would get it and I would come into the dock in the morning so people who couldn't get time off on their day off, they could come out. So I'd come in the dock every morning and then I would come in the dock right before sunset so that we load everybody up, fresh ice and everything. When we went out there, I would time it so we could see sunset. It was gorgeous, camping at the lake. And Lindsay liked that a lot. She was driving. I had wave runners, right? We had boats, and she'd bring some friends. We'd have golf tournaments, all kind of stuff like that. It's like the houseboat part. Lindsay has become a lake person. I've talked many times. One of the greatest things that I was introduced early in Las Vegas was the lake, and I got a lot of lake stories myself. But so I would take them there. We would go down to Laughlin. She meant earlier. I had a buddy, and this is back in the day of RF&B, room, food, and beverage, right? So we had that big giant corner suite on the riverside. Remember that, right? We'd go outside and on the balcony and look around and throw.
First one who hit someone with a paper airplane got a treat.
And the guys would let you. The boats that they did the commuting with, the guys would always let my kids drive them. So Laughlin, we had a ball down there.
I love
Actually,
Laughlin.
on
To
my
this day,
video,
I still go.
Lindsay's first steps was at the Riverside. So when I started going to the Riverside around then, that tower was brand new, and I was filming her by the pool, and she got up and took her first step. So Laughlin has a special place in my heart. So we used to go to Valley of Fires. I'll show you a picture of the Indian houses out there. Lindsay, do you have a story about the Indian houses?
Oh, so cool. They are actually old Indian houses.
Well, there's
And
three of them.
I
They have a
just remember
fireplace,
we
right?
would
So,
always drive up there and bring some snacks, and Daddy would make a nice fire, lay some blankets down. And we actually kind of moved in for a couple hours
right.
every couple months.
So Johnny and Lindsay are in there. I get the little cassette playing music. We're on the blanket. I got fire in the fireplace. Everything. Ranger pulls up. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? You can't live here. Almost got in trouble, but we skated out of that one. And
We're like making fires in ancient Indian ruins.
I got statute of limitations, right? It comes to me there, right?
There, Daddy, you're gonna get it.
But I got to tell you, one of our favorite, she's probably a year old, Zion, right in the Narrows, right, Lindsay? Remember that? That's my
Hmm.
favorite photo. I got to dig it out.
Yeah, we gotta
Um,
find that one.
you know, a lot of people have like pictures on their walls and stuff. My best family photos, we did poster size, and there's one of the cow, there's one of the Cadillac. We used to do so. This is back before Fremont Experience. If there was a parade in Vegas, I would find a way to get in the parade with my convertible Cadillac, right? So we're
Oh
doing
yeah.
like, I did one with Coldwell Banker, and I came up with this idea where all of the agents, we marched with our briefcase, and I did this like call thing. And then when it was over, they would stop, open their briefcase, get their business cards, and go out and pass it around to the people. But we would take, I had a housekeeper back then, Betty, and we would go like to St. Patrick's Day was big, Eldorado Day. But so one time I hadn't driven the Cadillac for a while. We get down there, get in the parade, and we started way down on like Bonneville or somewhere. We're coming up, I'm beeping the horn. We turn on Fremont Street, the battery died. So I had to get, I got I stayed in the car to steer. I had a couple guys come behind me and casually lean up against the car and push it through the rest of the parade because my battery was dead. The car wasn't
Nobody
working.
knew it was dead though.
Right, that was kind of cool. I like that. I like that. All right, what else we got? I mean, that's about it. Let me see if I got anything else. That's about it, Lindsay Benji. Hey, talked about that. Yeah. Oh, so for Lindsay's birthday, she had moved out of town, and I would get concert tickets on her birthday. We did it a couple times. Who did we go see?
Andrea Bocelli at the Mandalay Bay.
Wasn't that Dynamite? What
It's
a
the
great
best.
concert seeing him. He's coming again pretty soon, so you
Yeah.
got to get a chance to do that. You know, I really pushed the social, the outside of casinos a lot because that's what I did. Well, 10 years I had my own tour company, taking people to these different spots where the other companies wouldn't go. But, oh, and finally, one last story. So, Lindsay had gotten in a little bit of trouble and trying to figure out what to do. So I pack a picnic basket, blanket and stuff, and we're driving out 95 there towards Mount Charleston, and we passed the Mount Charleston first one for Kyle Canyon, and then we go to Lee Canyon, turn off, keep going. Lindsay's like, "Where are we going?" So I go up a little bit further. I literally stop like at a turnaround in the medium up there, and we got out. And I got a blanket down there and picnic. And Lindsay's, why are we doing it? I says, look at this. Just imagine we are free to enjoy things like this. And then I said, all right, let's go. We'll leave now. We packed up our stuff. Where did I go, Lindsay?
You dropped me off at the prison for the Scared Straight program.
She had this one brother, this black dude. He was a big giant, and he
He straightened me right out. And boy, I was so scared.
yeah.
But at the end, they were real nice guys, but their job is to scare you. I never did anything bad ever again.
They put the orange jumpsuit on her, but I told
Handcuffs, and they yelled at us. They were, it was the real
it was
deal.
bad.
I
It was the real
recommend that
deal.
program for any bad kid.
They're flinging their fluids at these kids and stuff. But
Oh,
the one guy, and these guys are great. These prisoners, there's
they're
a
helping
lot of
kids.
guys who regret what they did. What I'm talking about, this one dude, he's about 6'5", big dude. Started talking to him, we were pretty cool. And I told him, I says, listen, one of my problems with Lindsay is when she goes to her mom's house, she's allowed to do whatever she wants. And she would leave at like 10 o'clock at night and take the bus down to by where I live now. And I told his brother, I said, I says, what can we do? And he grabbed Lindsay by the neck and up against the wall because he wanted her to feel what it's going to feel like if she gets in a jam out there. And I think that was the most impactful moment. That's when I think the program kicked in. So,
oh yeah, look how good I am now.
I'm proud of you, honey. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. I love you. She's in Denver now. Another chapter of her life. She had a blast in San Diego. I loved going down there. In 2008, I had a lot of money. My house was like $1.5 million. We had 10 rentals. I had a condo in San Diego. I had a house up in Ely. In 2008, I was diagnosed with stage 4 leukemia. That was a national recession, Las Vegas housing. I lost everything. I mean, when I got my amputation, my first 2 years, I had to ride the city bus. You want to talk about an awakening, but everything's fine. My daughter, my beautiful daughter, she's doing fine. Johnny is great. Philip is amazing. I got pictures of him doing handstands and all this stuff. And I tell you what, I remember when the kids had problems in high school, and, people used to say, listen, when they get older, they will have learned from all that. And, at the time you don't think about it. And I tell you what, how much reward you get in retrospect thinking about that stuff. But anyways, I think that's about it for today. Lindsay, thank you for coming. This was fun. Lindsay's
Thank
up in
you.
Denver.
Moral of the story is just because you're born and raised in Vegas doesn't mean you're wild. I've moved all over the country to camping spots because Vegas has a lot more to offer than the casinos. It's a beautiful place, and a lot of people don't realize that when you tell them that's where you're from. So it's pretty cool being from Las Vegas. I know all the secrets, but if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Right. Actually, talking about that creativity. So when I became an artist 7 years ago, turned out I had this creativity my whole life. I'm gonna tell you guys something now. John, our producer, you got to go on YouTube and look at these other shows he has. He has the one show, Double Exposure, where where they play the modern, really cool beat song, and he does these amazing clips of everything from documentaries to Fred Astaire singing in the rain, blah, blah, blah. Go look at John's stuff. If you're watching this, it's right there. Click away. John is an amazing creative man. So, like I said, since my sit down, he's doing bows and stuff. I probably shouldn't have said nothing. Anyways, hey, John's dynamite. And, I've talked about creativity. John's one of the most creative people I've ever met. I thank him for the opportunity to do the show. Thank you to Patton and Danny. Danny will be back next week with Ralph. All right? So Ralph's going to continue. And we're going to bring Lindsay back, and she can kind of run the show, and she can tell some of the stories of her and her friends when she was a little bit older. How's that sound? Good?
Yeah, I've got some good ones.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. I'll have Ralph here. Thank you. We love you. Lindsay, I love you. John, I love you.
Bye,
have a good one. Vegas Dice Kings.